Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, in the past, present, or future, wherever and whenever you are. Welcome to another scene for the Living World of Darkness Changeling 20th venue. And it's been a night, 4 months or so in the making, as Charles and Amber are finally going out on that night of romance that he had invited her to so long ago. Our scene begins in front of 2017's #1 3-star Michelin restaurant, 11 Madison Park. As Charles waits outside in the suit that was specially made by Sansaray, and it's definitely causing a lot of head turns by a lot of people by this man dressed in it. It's that phrase, "the suit makes the man," seems to just enhance everything about him. It's a dark suit, but yet even in certain bits of the light, you almost see a shimmer of almost like red hues within it. And it seems to incite a sort of attention, a passion, a mystery, and hunger almost in a way from those that see it. And it's just, there's not a person that doesn't look at him as they're going by in the restaurant. But he's waiting outside the restaurant for his date, and he's got a lovely it's a corsage, is what the the flower bracelets are, right? It's a corsage. No.
Yeah, it's a corsage. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I got the word right. Yes. But he's got a corsage of like of a nice mixture of like purples, of like violets and foxglove and a few other nice lovely flowers in there waiting. Yeah. As he's waiting for his date to arrive.
And yeah, she'll pull up in a taxi because usually she'd be taking the subway, but in this dress, she's like, no, I'm not doing that. Also in these heels, no, I'm not doing that. Yeah, she steps out. She is, her gown doesn't have like the blessing of the dreaming in it or anything, but it's a long green gown. It's like super fine material. It's like a dark forest green, and she's got like a nice blazer on over it. Hair done up in bright red lipstick, as she's like to do when dressing up. And yeah, she steps out and she's got like a bag, little handbag, one of those like small little clutch things with her. And she's like, she like has to take a second, like up against the taxi with her handbag like over her chest, being like, well, I thought it was going to be difficult to find you.
Well, I like to think I stand out amongst the masses. Something for you. And he says as he opens the box up, and he has the corsage, and he waits for her to like, extend her hand out so he can place it on.
Oh, you are too kind, sir. And she extends her hand, and she is wearing the gold bracelet that he gave her because it goes with the outfit.
Perfect. And yeah, and he places the corsage just above it. It blends nice and seamlessly, and he offers his arm to her.
She'll curtsy and take it.
They go right in. And as dictated as before, the reservation has been set. It's not that hard. They are brought back into one of the nice little black leather back chairs. Just the two of them, right across from each other. The waiter comes up and hands out what's going to be their tasting menu as the evening will progress along. And recommends and mentions the wine pairings that will be coming along. And for the first part of the appetizer, they will be bringing that along shortly. And they pour the water in the glasses, and he walks off.
And that was the one thing, because Amber seems like she has some amount of money in order to have started up a club. She doesn't look like she does this very often, but she does know how to order wine. She does know the kinds of wine.
I know these words.
Yes, I recognize these. She's like, I'm competent in this. That'll be all. Yeah, she'll order something nice with perfect pronunciation and be like, all right, that's enough fanciness for now.
I at least pronounced that right. Maybe I've impressed him.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows?
Who knows? And Charles orders his, and gets himself settled in here as the first part of the coursing menu will be coming along shortly. But he sits there and he just sort of takes the moment to just gaze at Amber for a moment before he's like, I hope this evening will have been well worth the wait.
It's certainly a bit of a rocky start, I'd say, but no, I was very glad this is happening now. I was worried after the little engagement with Carol that had sort of canceled our plans preemptively. But I am, of course, delighted to know that that is not the case.
Oh, of course not. After all, it was just a little bit of fun. People having misunderstandings. You know how those are.
Oh, I don't know what you're talking about.
Of course not. How silly of me. You are perfectly upfront and honest with everything you do. It wouldn't be professional otherwise.
Exactly. I'm glad we're on the same page.
I would hope so. And at that moment, the wine comes out, and the first bit of the dish comes out, and it's a cappuccino with piquito crab and cauliflower, and there's almost like a sort of like a it's sea urchin actually just on
oh my god
with cappuccino. Yeah, no, that's the first thing coming out.
Oh my god, why is a sea urchin in cappuccino? Okay.
With crab and cauliflower.
Yeah, I mean, okay.
Yeah. I'm dusting over.
I'm into it. I thought cappuccino was like a thing that was served at dessert, but this is fine.
Yeah, no, apparently this is how you're starting this out. This is the beginning. Now, doesn't this look lovely?
And she was going to take the cappuccino and kind of look at the sea urchin and be like, "Am I supposed to eat this creature?" Just very, very lowly to him, like the side of her mouth.
He takes the spoon and he sort of like cuts into like it's more like it seems like the cappuccino is more like a froth on top of the on top of the most of the ingredients from what I'm looking at. So
I see.
He takes a spoon and he sort of dips it in, takes in with the cappuccino, and I would say so. Yes, at least I haven't died yet.
Yet.
The evening's young. You never know what might happen.
So of course, you're the one that set up the reservation. I don't know, well, anything I'm eating.
To be honest, I didn't know anything I was going to be eating before I got here. They're very secretive about what the menu is going to be like. Apparently, they change it on every season.
Oh, that's either a very good thing or a very bad thing for us.
Well, only one way to find out.
Yeah, she'll dig into the small creature. And Veet looks surprised that it like tastes like food.
I've only in real life, out of character, I've only eaten sea urchin once on like sushi, and I didn't really like it that much. It was like very slimy, in my opinion. Although I might try it again at another point in the future, but not.
You need the right kind of sauce.
That, or I need it as fresh as possible because I don't know how long that one's been there. So.
Right.
So yeah, they're eating their promo. So tell me, you started Vixen, obviously, with was it just yourself? Oh, I'm assuming it was yourself, but you never know. There might have been partners involved with that.
Oh well, I had just the slightest bit of assistance from Vivi, who is, of course, the co-founder. She did just a little bit of work. You know, I probably could have done without her, but she was there.
I'm sure her presence was a very presentable one, at the very least.
Yes, she seemed to know her way around numbers.
So she's the number girls then.
And the Rockette as well.
You know, I know that you've read your recommendation to me about asking questions and stuff, but to be completely honest, I love it never really knowing exactly what's entirely true and what's not. So please forgive me if I just go ahead and ask direct questions, and just roll with them.
To be honest, I'm more comfortable with that as well. It's just the fact that people tend to get very easily confused.
I don't mind confusion. I like puzzling things out. And honestly, once you start to get the rhythm of someone, you can kind of start to figure out exactly what's entirely true, what might be an exaggeration, and what might just be completely false. But even then, you might have a misstep here and there, and that just leads to all sorts of fun.
The height of comedy.
Exactly. Height of comedy, the air of mystery, tension sometimes, but even then, it's delightful. It's communication, one way or another, between two people.
I hear that's important.
It's very important. It's what makes us what we are. It makes us being able to sit here at this restaurant together, even as we is. And about that time, the next course is coming in. Everything goes away. What comes in is like this avocado roll.
Oh man, yes.
But there's prawn inside. It's called a prawn roulade with avocado, and there's like yogurt's artistic smears on the side, so you can cut it open and put it on there. And there's actually like clovers, artisanally put on the plate there.
Oh damn!
Yeah.
I'm gonna feel bad messing those up.
It looks absolutely delicious, actually.
Amber is just as much of a millennial as I am. We love our avocados. We can't buy a house because we love our avocados so much.
It's amazing. I love avocado, and I'm in California too, where all those things are coming in. So it's just wonderful. Oh man.
That she recognizes as food and is like, oh yes, I can do this.
I can do this. I'm fine with this. I can make this happen.
And in between bites, she's going to ask, how many courses should I be expecting?
11.
11. So I should probably not fill up on bread?
Oh, I'm sure we won't have to worry about bread. As they actually didn't put bread on the table. So I think they're put on a very strict regimen with what's coming out. Well, this is nice. So what got you started with Vixen?
I was just so interested in continuing school. So I, of course, went to a community college and got out of there as soon as I could, because I would rather interact with people than sit in a lecture hall, just listening. And really, the only sort of option other than running some sort of social business would be being a counselor, and that requires more school. This is the fastest way into the world, and job that in order to be successful requires good interaction with customers.
Of course. Interesting. You weren't very interested with the idea of just sitting there and listening to someone talk. You had to engage. Very interesting.
I'm fine with listening for a while. It's the fact that you have to take what the person says as law, and there's no room for really discussion. Someone is talking to me, I can think whatever I want about what they're saying.
But once it comes down to the enforcement of that their words, that's where the issue comes comes up. Sorry, I flubbed my words there.
Could have been worse.
It's hard not to be.
We're all ladies.
We're all ladies.
How long was it going to be until we brought that up?
It was only a matter of time.
Had to have happened.
It's hard not to. Anyway.
That, and I stopped the whole sleeping with the professors to get a good grade only lasted me through freshman year.
Oh. What? They were tired of the same old flavor? Was that it?
There were different professors.
Oh. But You can only deal with professors for so long anyway. There's as you said, a brighter world for more interesting people out there than stuffy old classrooms and chalkboards.
Do you wonder why they still use chalkboards?
I don't know. Honestly, we didn't even have chalkboards when we were over there. We're still using parchment and scrolls, and you'd think in a place full of wondrous, boundless creativity we'd have advanced somewhat, but no. No, still stuck in old methods.
That doesn't seem consistent at all with what I'm seeing out here.
Oh, of course not. Of course not. Something static while the rest of the world progresses forward. But I am not going to go into politics tonight. Tonight is about us.
Isn't that what professional people talk about over dinner? These very wealthy professional people talk about politics and the economy?
Maybe they do, but that's not what I'm interested in conversing about tonight. I can do that anytime. Tonight, I get to talk about you, with you, and about me, with you.
I guess I can suffer through that.
I'm sure it'll be a horrible burden to bear, but if you can at least last the night, I'm sure you'll find yourself much stronger for it.
I am getting fed.
That is very much true. And at this point, the third course is coming around, and what comes out is these 3 sets of basically think like 3 small little like wooden, well, 4 little wooden platters, like little half logs, so to speak. 3 of them have 3 clams on them of different styles. One has like what seems to be avocado mixed in. One seems a little more clam, and another one seems to have like little like flowers and stuff put in it along with the clam. And the 4th one has 3 little round Parker house rolls. And there's a big, huge heated rock plate that's put on there with kelp and a pot, and like a teapot on top of it. It's called Little Neck Clam Bake with Vetrole and Parker house rolls. And basically, before they leave, they pour water onto the hot rocks, so the steam keeps coming on, and you smell the you can smell the seaweed sort of cooking like you're at the sea.
Oh, so that's there for aesthetic. We're not supposed to eat that.
No, we're not supposed to eat that, but I'm sure you could give it a try. But I think with this, he says takes the tea and he pours it onto like one of the clam shells and stuff. I think that's how you're supposed to do it.
And she'll take one of the clams and try it and be like, I wonder if they do that doggy bag thing here.
Not quite sure, but I think the portion sizes are small enough that we might be able to make it through an 11-course tasting menu. I've only recently discovered about the whole thing about having doggy bags or taking your food or putting the leftovers in. Usually I'm always eating it.
It's unfortunate that portion sizes are usually so large.
But I think where they try to keep in consideration with these ones that they want you to at least make it through the meal.
That or wealthy people just have larger stomachs.
Perhaps. Since there are a number of other wealthy people around, perhaps we can sort of sightsee and take a gander at them. Maybe make a few stories. And he sort of turns, and it's never very clear once they're starting to look around. There's people definitely like looking at this table.
I mean, because of the suit.
The suit.
Yeah.
One person hasn't been eating; he's just been staring. He might have failed his willpower roll, that poor Toreador.
I could make it all worse with a Kindle. No, that would be bad.
Well, we'll see how the date goes. You never know. If it goes
Everyone's
poorly.
Bob Charles be like, Kindle.
Oh no. Oh man. Well, that'd be a very interesting direction for it to go, but we're going so well so far. On second thought, they all seem to be paying a little too much attention to us. Perhaps sightseeing wouldn't be a good idea.
If I need to pull up my dress just a little bit, even though the dress top is for her very conservative.
Oh. Well, I hope it's not too stuffy of an establishment for you. I will admit this is my first time at making this kind of an attempt out here.
No, I'm I like pretending that I have so much wealth that I can just go to these places and not have to look at the prices.
Well, the good news is you won't have to look at them. You won't have to worry about a thing.
This is lovely, lovely treatment. I could get used to this.
Well, depending if we want a second go around after tonight, we might be able to make it a little bit more of a thing. Can't guarantee that it won't be for another 4 months or so, but
Here's hoping we're both still here. She says, raising her glass just a little bit.
So if we're still here, and he tings it and takes the sip. Although that's another subject I think we should try not to think of. As I said, tonight's going to be about us, not anything outside of that.
Right. Can worry about the what the paparazzi has to say later.
Exactly. It'll be in Sunday morning. We'll deal with it in the morning. And at that point, the next dish comes out. It looks like a small little like a small gelatin circle with what seems to be a crisp on top of it. It's a foie gras truncheon with maple syrup and pain d'épices. I can't pronounce these things.
That's fine. I wouldn't know what it meant if you could.
Yeah, well, I can't tell you what it is either. It's fancy. It's like some kind of, I think it's like a patty of some kind with maple syrup mixed in and stuff like that. So looks good. Everything looks good on this menu. Just roll with it.
Yeah, she'll poke it with a spoon and be like, "If this
oh,
is
you
Jell-O,
cut it you cut it open and the syrup spills out. Okay.
Oh,
cool. Yeah.
That's dangerous.
That is amazing. Yeah, Charles actually cuts it open, and the maple syrup starts to spill out. It's like, ooh.
This is, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is an establishment where licking the plate is probably not socially acceptable.
Probably not, but given how much we paid, I don't think anyone's going to stop you.
She's gonna kind of do the thing that you do with melted ice cream, where you just kind of, after you're done, you take the bowl and you scrape it all to the bottom, and then eat it that way.
Yeah. And we're not even done, Jesus.
No, we're on what, 5?
It's 4 or 5 at this moment. It's crazy. Of the 11-course tasting menu.
Yep.
Oh, man.
These waiters are so busy.
Now, there's other people around and stuff like that ordering their things. I mean, I can only imagine. Actually, that could be something in the dialogue. It's I can only imagine the amount of work that has to go into working in those back kitchens there. The synchronicity and level of communication you have to have and able to order to be able to get all this as perfect as the last dish that comes out, so that no one else feels envious of it.
That's a good point. I should give them my business card.
That would actually be very interesting if you started bringing that quality of food to Vixen. I wonder if the Michelin guide would actually start to approach you on that regards.
I just think they might like a change of pace.
Although I do remember having those hot wings when I was there. That was actually quite delicious.
I hear there was a Selkie that had hot wings to rival.
Yes. I unfortunately never got to meet him. There was even a contest too, and I was planning to go, but work is work. And that's also something else that also has been a very interesting thing in a hindrance to this event. Is it's actually really hard to actually get time off to actually make sure that even if an emergency comes around, your evening is free when you're working for the NYPD.
Yes, that makes sense.
Mm. Apparently, everyone's causing trouble no matter where and when you go.
Are you enjoying it? Other than that,
Oh, it's fascinating, to be completely honest, being able to go out there, communicate with things, discover the stories that are being hidden there. You know, you'd be surprised how much you can actually learn about a person, even if they're dead. Just from the situation they're in, their posture, the way their nails are cut, and about the person that may or may not have done something to them.
I'm surprised you know about the nail thing. I thought that was a secret amongst lesbians.
Oh, well, psychology. You have to keep up with learning about all the minor little nuances in order to be able to pick up things. The only issue is when someone decides that after a disaster that it's in everyone's best interest to keep up appearance, so they decide to clean up the scene before the investigators arrive. Makes it a little difficult to be able to do your job, but it's what it is.
Does sound unfortunate. I think they perhaps have been watching too much Pulp Fiction.
You're not talking about the Royales with cheese bit. I think it's been a while since Charles here has seen it. It says as he sort of taps his head and he's like trying to go through the Rolodex, but it's definitely not a memory that's easily accessible.
Oh, really? It seems that most, if not all men that I talk to that are, Caucasian in persuasion have seen Pulp Fiction and what's the other one? Fight Club. Those two.
Oh, Fight Club. I know Fight Club a little bit more. Yes. I think Charles saw. He only ever saw it once. Oh God, and that was like 10 years ago. So no, unfortunately, I don't think I can really remember what part of the movie you're referring to.
Oh, just the general heads exploding, having to clean up a car.
Oh. Oh, I think yes. Now that's starting to ring some bells. Yes. Mm-hmm. No, and to be honest, I find I find most of those kinds of movies rather distasteful anyway.
Yes, I can see how that would make sense. You might find some merit in Fight Club. It's got some sort of psychology application, I think. At least that's what those two movies are generally good ones to bring up when there are men sitting at the bar that clearly want to impress me. So I just have them talk about these movies and tell me all the secret hidden messages that I just, as a woman, am too dull to understand or have picked up on.
Well, that's because they're blind to the true beauty within your mind.
Oh, you're too kind.
I'm only speaking the truth.
I suppose they're more focused on the true beauty in my heart, perhaps?
The heart within one's breast. Yes, I am sure that is what they were looking at. About that point, on to the next course here, as what's brought out is what seems to be a interesting sort of platter full of what seems to be like small little mushroom caps that have been hollowed out, but with different things like peas and various forms of nuts. There's actually an avocado one, and there's actually one that's actually an egg, 2 little bits of toast, and the waiter actually brings out a what seems to be like a sausage grinder, but what he puts in there is like carrots and starts grinding them into this sort of carrot sausage and places it into the middle of the thing. So it's a carrot tartare with rye toast and condiments.
Oh, we should have brought Maxine.
Oh, I don't think she. Oh, I didn't want to make her the third wheel. I'm too considerate of a friend to do that.
That's good. That's good.
Although, that does make me curious if you would be interested in her hanging along at another time.
Oh, I've certainly never been known to say the more the merrier.
I'm certain. Well, that might be a consideration depending on how things go.
I do like how there seems to be a theme here. She says, pointing to the avocado.
There definitely does seem to be a thing. Maybe that's something that New York thinks is extravagant or something. I don't know. It's quite fascinating. Do you want the egg or should I?
Let's. Does it look like it could be split?
It does look like it. It's just the yolk.
Then yeah, let's split that.
Okay. They do that. They butter up their carrot tartare rye toast.
There is bread.
There is bread.
It appears as though you lied.
Well, I didn't know if they were going to bring bread out or not. After all, there wasn't any on the table, and I don't know what's going to be on the menu. So.
Oh, true.
Although this has been quite an interesting adventure so far.
It has. It's almost like stepping into a different realm. This is not quite what I think stepping into our realm is like, but something of this general feeling that is evoked.
Oh. If I could show you one day, I would. And I would say that after tonight, as wonderful as this is all appearing to be, this is actually quite delightful. It's would pale in comparison to the things you would see. The wriggling taste of Blather's fruit across your tongue. The sweet dew that comes off a solstice reindeer. The colors.
I'm sorry, dew off of a reindeer?
Why, yes.
Do you go up to them with some sort of squeegee? And just sort of, and she makes like a motion where you just wipe them down and take the dew off their fur into like some sort of cup.
I do believe they actually do take a comb to them, yes. Although the real delicious treat is the meat in the neck. Oh, the colors you see. It's almost like those strobe lights in your club when they go off, except it's right in your eyes and show you colors and dimensions you never thought you'd see.
Inside a reindeer.
Well, once you bite into the neck, yes.
That's something I would be quite surprised to see. I'd be concerned about bacteria, but I suppose if it's normal there.
Oh, the bacteria you'd have to worry about there would be of a completely different sort and matter and stuff. It'd be, I remember speaking to a number of viruses one time. They had a very interesting mindset about expansion and growth and single-mindedness, but we came to an agreement one day. And about that point, the next thing comes in, which it's a fish, which with a poached zucchini put on top of it to look like the scales, which is which is with a squash blossom by the side, and what seems to be a cream sauce right underneath it.
Amber's like, yes, fish.
Yes.
Fox is happy.
Yay! Unlike the sea urchin, it's like, this doesn't look like fish. It's fishy, but this is no.
Yes, this is not. Is this alive?
What do I do with this? Yep, it's a
This looks somewhat
turbot.
familiar.
Turbot, poached zucchini, and squash blossom. Mmm. I love the artistic scene. Oh, this reminds me of a Zephyr Sea Dragon scales. Yes.
You've seen a sea dragon.
Of course I have.
And are still alive.
Of course, we had a lovely chat.
Oh. I wonder if the dragons that are a bit closer to us would have the same sort of lovely conversations.
Supposedly, there's at least 3 of them flying around Tar-Nar. Not sure I could converse with them as much as like I used to. But we have aspirations. As he goes back to digging into his food.
Ember will say, I, of course, did not prepare this, but watch out for bones. Eat small bites.
Of course. Mm-hmm. So, are you from New York originally or outside of it?
Oh. I'd say my heart's always been in New York.
Your heart, but maybe not your mind or your body.
No, not quite so much. But same general area.
So, maybe not the city, necessarily, but around it.
The beach.
The beach. That must have been a lovely place growing up.
It was quite lovely. That was where I, during peak tourist season, when I would get the most practice.
With conversation, or he just
Something
raises
like that.
an eyebrow?
Something like that.
I see. How old were you the first time?
And she's just gonna she's mulling it over, trying to decide if she wants to keep playing. just playing with like the fish that's on her fork.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you are law enforcement. I don't know if I should be speaking of such things.
We're off the clock. Those things don't matter. And besides, it's not like I can make an arrest. I'm a criminal psychologist.
Good to know. And you could tell Maxine, who could make an arrest.
Well, she's a parole officer, so she wouldn't be making an arrest on you unless you were already arrested by someone else, so.
Well, I guess I've kept that a secret for long enough. To answer your question, I think I must have mixed my first drink when I was, in 6th grade at one of my parents' Christmas parties.
Oh. And how was that?
No, I wouldn't know. I didn't try it, of course.
So it was for someone else in the family or relative or something.
I had seen them do it often enough. That's what children are for, right? To bring you things when you're sitting on the couch.
I wouldn't know. Never had children. Charles never had children. And if I recall, it was the butler who did most of that.
Oh, he had a butler.
Yes, very wealthy family.
Was he Bruce Wayne?
No, I'd know if he had a bat cave. Although his dance moves would probably be on par with Adam West. But then again, that's much to say. Regardless, Charles's family is very much well-to-do and perfectly fine, of fine Virginia stock, so to speak. proud to be there. Politician, at least on the father. And mom, mom is a shrewd businesswoman. Doesn't own a company, but she definitely helps out a lot of people with getting theirs started. Makes quite a bit of killing off those. Then, of course, my older brother is Charles's older brother, I should say. Is the pride and joy. He at least decided to keep up with the family tradition and go into politics himself. The oldest child, my sister. The disappointment. Well, the major disappointment. Charles is also a disappointment, but but not to the degree his sister is. She, I believe, is traveling the world. She's still traveling the world. She stays at hostels. She doesn't care about the money that she come from. In fact, she's perfectly fine slumming it, I believe.
That doesn't seem like such a disappointment.
You don't know Charles's parents. That's just to be so irresponsible to supposedly throw away her future, drop out of school, not get a good job, or at least get a good husband. Very old-fashioned, let me tell you. Probably a blessing me and Maxine actually didn't go there to Christmas. I'm sure they'd be trying to shack us up.
Well, at least they're not spending money on her.
No, at least they are not. And while I will not lie and say that at least some portion of Charles's wealth doesn't come from at least part of his own bit of the trust funds coming in, he does make a decent amount. I actually do make a decent amount from my work, actually, within the NYPD. Criminal psychology is actually very lucrative, despite its, all things considering, it's in the police force.
Out of character, I hope so.
I hope so, too. I have no idea. I probably should have researched that, but you know what? Charles doesn't care, so...
I mean, okay, first of all, considering it's a government job, it's probably... And considering also it's New York, from what I know from my criminal justice classes, the NYPD has the highest, or one of the highest, turnover rates, so they tend to keep salaries pretty high.
Yeah, and I mean, imagining criminal psychology especially would be something that's like, we need to keep a criminal psychologist. That's that's something. And especially since originally who was working in Manhattan. That's,
yeah.
Yeah, so Brooklyn now. Oh, Maxine.
Brooklyn's where all the fun people are, though.
Yeah, it's true. The majority of people are in Brooklyn. So... All right, but back to things. But yeah, the next dish comes out, and what comes out is almost like a think sort of like the not necessarily the full consistency of melted ice cream or anything like that, but like this white sort of thing, which seems to have like celery and a chocolatey sort of thing down in the middle of a ball. It's called Winter in Providence, which is black truffle, celery root, potato, and chevet frias.
Oh man, it's a truffle.
Yeah.
I want it.
Well, we have it in our minds. That's right.
Yes. I like how they put celery there just to be healthy.
Yep, just for a well-balanced meal.
Yeah.
I just saw your comment. That's hysterical.
Yeah, when you were speaking of politician, shrewd woman, yeah. Outside of DC, that's all these families. Yep.
Yep. I figured coming from a high-end family, it's like, how can I do this? Oh yeah, stuffy. But as they're eating, Charles continues on with what he was saying. It's like, but yes, I was the ultimate disappointment because I didn't go into politics or into business. I wanted to do psychology. And my mother would have been fine had I gotten a more cushy therapist job, which might have been a little more high paying. But honestly, Charles wanted to feel like he was making a difference.
Well, you have a doctorate. That's something.
Oh, yes. And the therapist license to boot, but not hard, very difficult to practice therapy when your schedule could change at the drop of a moment.
Have you ever been to Rikers?
Rikers, no, I don't think so.
That's good to hear. I hear terrible things. And she
Ah.
she says that actually sort of seriously.
Mm. Ah. Well, probably a blessing that I haven't gone then.
And technically it is in Queens, so
Well, it is a bit out of the way, although he's keeping that as a mental note now. So. Curiosity peaked. Anyway.
Do you have the curiosity flaw?
No, but that doesn't mean he can't be. So. Although that sounds like, although from your tone, sounds like perhaps maybe you have.
Oh, certainly I've been arrested at least 5 times, and being one of the more serious offenders, I was of course taken to Rikers Island.
I can imagine. You probably had to swim your way back.
Oh, did someone tell you that? I should probably keep that a better secret.
Well, it was either that or use the guards as lifeboats. I'm not sure which.
I used the guards as something.
Well, it all depends how you pick your poison, I guess.
But I would, as much as I pride myself in having a very upscale establishment, I have certainly worked in places where the clientele likes to travel.
I see. With all the things you've experienced before and after you've remembered certain key details about yourself, are you satisfied with where you're at?
I mean, I'm having someone pay for my dinner. I'm having 11 courses, and I'm wearing a pretty gown. I'd say that'd be enough to satisfy most people.
But you're not most people.
Your words are so honeyed. It's a delight.
Just smiles those razor sharp diamond fangs.
I would say I would be. I don't think. Well, peak satisfaction is not something I want to have achieved this early in my life.
So you're still looking for something, but not necessarily, but maybe not know necessarily what that is.
And from what I'm thinking now, I might never happen, but I'm going to keep working towards it. If I can make someone's day a little bit better, that gets me a little closer.
I think it's important to keep chasing those dreams. But I think it's even more important to stop believing that they might never happen.
I hear dreams are very important.
I'm sure they are. And about that point, the next pit comes in, and it is basically think like, you know, like a fried pork belly sort of thing, or
man,
pork belly with like little like a wrapped sort of green onion on one end. There's like a smear in the middle with a caramelized onion and what seems to be a little like candy tartars thing. But basically what this is suckling pig confit with rhubarb and cipollone onion.
This pig was only fed the finest of truffles.
It looks really fucking good. I'll send you the video. I'll send you the video of the full thing after we're done here.
and it was raised on a farm where there were rainbows, and it had his own personal manicurist.
Yeah. Oh man. See, that's what I like. finding out the stories, finding out the tales, because stories is what binds us all together, really. It's communication, it's passing of knowledge and imagination and creativity. I'm sure me and a few, well, I'm sure despite the ancient anonymity, me and a few Eshu would actually get along with telling stories, because
Stories are really all we are in the end.
And they can be as real or as false as others make of them. He sort of gets it's like 1,000-yard stares. He's staring at like a couple across the way.
The lady's reconsidering her entire existence.
Why am I at this table? Turn around every now and then. I get a little bit terrified. But he comes back to himself and digs in. Sorry, I think I lost track of where we were in the conversation. Perhaps you'd like to lead.
Oh, I know swing, I know blues, I know a little bit of foxtrot. I'm sorry. Out of character, I'm sorry.
No, you're not.
I'm not. I don't know if I know enough to lead, but I can certainly try.
By all means.
Might want to. I'm going to start by asking. Do I dip this in this or in this? Because you said there was like a smear, and then there was also the other thing on the side.
Yeah. To be honest, he's looking at it. To be honest, I think you can do whatever you want with it. But yeah, it does look like it's kind of a thing you want to smear and dip the pork into. So yeah.
Absolutely try that.
Yeah. And mix the rhubarb tartar thing with it too. Oh,
yeah,
God.
yeah. So good.
Just everything's so good. Yeah, and we're still not done.
We're not done.
We're getting close to the end. I do promise on that one.
I don't want to bring the conversation to things that aren't necessarily. Well, this does involve us. It just might just be a little bit touch on topics that you said we might not want to talk about, at least. Those signs, the sparklies had been put up. Was that? I don't suppose that was you or a mutual friend.
Oh, I have no interest in what's it called? Tagging. It's a very interesting art form, and one I can definitely appreciate, but the glitter would never get off me. He says he holds himself up as the shoot shimmers.
Yep. In that case, what sort of art are you interested in?
Oh, I think I told you. Wordcraft, wordplay, poetry, song, music.
Oh, I suppose that makes sense. You have a lovely karaoke voice. I should have inferred that.
Well, thank you. I hope one day it'll be more than just a karaoke voice, however, and I can tap right back into what it used to be.
You'll fill out Madison Square Garden.
I hope it'll be a song that'll ring around the world.
At the very least, a couple blocks, considering the sound system they have there.
I know I told you I used to be able to sing to the stars. I think I almost remember the tune. But he sort of like rubs the meat of his throat for a moment. But everything's so rigid. Can't quite make it come out.
I can teach you how to speak to rocks
Really now?
and small plants and small things. They're not the best conversation partners, but if you're looking for someone to talk to and you just happen to have an old book lying around.
I would like to get at least a jump start on trying to remember how to do those things again. That would be lovely if you happen to know a teacher.
Oh, I'll certainly ask around, see what I can do.
That'd be wonderful. Although, it'd be wonderful if it was you, ultimately, in the end. Because I'm sure it'd be a lovely conversation we could have between rocks and babbling brooks.
I'll check my busy schedule again after I figure out how this night went. See if I can squeeze you in somewhere.
Oh, I hope I don't get squeezed too tight.
That'll depend entirely on how the night goes.
I'm sure it will. And it's best time for the next course. And it's this it's this chicken, like this the skin is like white, but it's almost like translucent, and you can see like the dark of the meat underneath it. It's chicken poached with black truffles, potato, and asparagus. There's like this like small circular like sort of thing with like the potatoes and asparagus are these like small little dots all around it, and there's like this brown little sauce underneath it and everything.
Oh my god, everything has truffles on it because they're so expensive.
Don't ask about how much one of these tasting menus are.
Lose a lot of resources for the month. Should I be nervous? It seems as though we're going through the entire animal kingdom here.
Well, I don't think fox is a typical thing on a menu. Rabbit, though, that might be a little awkward.
I was going to say.
Rabbit might be a little awkward to bring up with a mutual friend. Then again, she's more of a hare than anything, so I don't think she'd mind too much if a rabbit were to, I don't know. That depends on how close you are to your cousins.
Right. And, of course, as my particular affinity never eats rabbits, ever.
Of course not. Of course not. And he is digging into the food, and I'm sure it's a very moist and succulent. I know moist is a word that gets people like, but you.
I'm not too squeamish around it.
I know, but
I'm not a huge fan, but I'm not going to be like, ugh.
Yeah, but I think you want a moist chicken when you're getting into that, especially a cooked moist one. So it's just the juiciness of it, and especially a poached one. Jesus, I don't know. How do you poach a chicken? It's just
be rich.
I guess we poached it in truffles. Because fuck you, that's why.
Just add some avocado on it.
Not on this one.
Ask the waiter for some avocado because the meal's not complete.
We need avocado with everything, especially on our toast.
Yep. The potatoes, of course, aren't mashed. They're like cut up, right?
Yeah, they're like, small little
like civilized humans.
Yeah, they're like yay big. They're like dotting the plate all around it in like this artisanal sort of circle thing. So it's the main dish is the main prize is the chicken. Everything else is partially just part of the decor, and you can eat it, but of course it's
yes, everything is being eaten because if you pay for it, you should eat it.
What? That's crazy.
I paid this much for it. I'm gonna eat this entire thing.
Oh man. And to think that this evening isn't even over. We have an opera after this.
I do. I suppose I'm going to I don't know, have to drink some water or walk to help with the digestion, but I really don't want to walk there.
Oh, I don't worry about walking. Besides, that would have been an hours-long walk anyway, and we don't have the time for that. I have procured our transportation for the evening.
Is it a horse-drawn chariot?
Oh, now you're ruining the surprise.
But it's pulled by dragons.
That is a little out of the price range. But then about that time, once they're done with that part of the meal, the next thing, I think we're close. I think it's the dessert, because it's like this dehydrated milk foam, sort of like an ice cream, and honey. It's called milk and honey with dehydrated milk foam and bee pollen all over it. And there's like, and inside the center of it is all like the caramelized honey and everything. And it's,
oh my gosh.
Yep.
This is the dessert. I thought we had like 3 desserts already.
Like I said, I think it's the dessert. Who knows what comes last? Oh no, there's still one more thing after this.
Okay, well.
They're still not done. How many desserts is there? Oh my god. This 11-course thing.
Imagine being this rich, man.
Imagine, just shit.
I'm gonna put some pre-baked lasagna in the oven and eat that.
I have like frozen pot stickers to fry later.
Yeah.
That's what I've got to go for. And I'm just like, oh.
Maybe you can make 11 and serve them on 11 plates, and it'd feel like an 11-course.
just do different things with them, like a different dipping sauce on each one. Have avocados on 3 of them. Oh my god.
Was it the last one? I gotta know.
Okay, so yeah, after that comes to this small bar of chocolate with what seems to be like a chocolate ribbon that is curled like sort of around it with like some gold leaf. There's a caramelized popcorn at one end, a caramel streak, a small, like almost a small mini egg about yay big of ice cream with it's called chocolate palette with peanut butter and popcorn ice cream.
My goodness. And she'll look at the gold and be like, Am I about to eat my college tuition?
I don't think your leaf is worth a leaf is worth the college tuition, but
just making sure. If it can be split in half, she's gonna try, but considering it's so tiny.
Yeah. Oh man. This was and that is for sure the last one. There's the video for later if you want it.
Oh my god. I'm gonna just keep this open in like one window because I don't want to be I don't want to just make myself any more hungry.
That's fine. But so the dessert comes up and he goes, "Well, I'm sorry that's not as much of a surprise as I was going to make it out to be, but our carriage does indeed await."
Oh, I was joking.
I'm sure you were, but who am I to not reward someone for their good instincts?
Right.
Yep. So you get out there, and it is a horse-drawn carriage, but it's like something out of like a Disney film, so to speak, as far as like it's like a very stylized. It's white, but it's got feathers everywhere. No, not feathers. Like well, it does have some feathers on it, but it's like bright purple feathers. It's got flowers all over it, just like it's almost like vines and everything are curling around like the wheel spokes and everything like that. And it's all it's stylized, obviously, but it's made to look like everything like grow out of the carriage and everything. The horse itself actually has its saddle actually is made out of like a bed of roses, and it's wearing a top hat.
The horse is wearing a top hat?
The horse is wearing a top hat.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Wait, also, why does it have, like, a saddle if no one's riding it?
It's decorative. It's a decorative saddle of roses.
Right.
And Charles opens up the door to the carriage and offers his hand out. Lady Amber.
Lady Charles. And she'll curtsy and take his hand. Go up the stairs carefully because gown and heels.
And into the carriage they go as they're whisked off to the opera.
Is the carriage like open, or is there like
it's a
walls?
closed. There's walls. It's like a closed carriage.
If there's like a window, she's gonna do the princess wave.
Yep, there definitely is.
Because why would she not?
Why would she not? The horse has a top hat. And it's like probably a good like 20 minutes or so before they get around there. Luckily, I mean traffic and stuff, but there's
we're on a horse.
We got horse car on carriage. We're going faster than the New York traffic. Let me tell you. Especially at like near 7 o'clock at night. So.
Right.
It's not long before they get to the Metropolitan Opera, in which the the carriage is drawn right up to the front where there's the carpet, and it actually there seems to be like an automatic switch where it opens up and its own carpet actually rolls out.
Oh my god, I love it. I love it so much. It's so extra.
Let it not be said these 4 months weren't well prepared for. And Charles offers his hand as he gets out to guide her down, and they walk right into the opera for probably the next few hours.
She's going to wave at the imaginary paparazzi that's not actually there.
Well, everyone is still turning their heads, but probably because of the suit.
Right. But she's going to pretend that this is like a red carpet and there are like cameras lining it.
Yeah.
She's like, no pictures, please. Okay, maybe just a couple. I spent hours on my makeup.
Would you like to tell the audience where your dress came from? Who are you wearing?
I wish I knew. I'm sure I could find out, but that would require research.
And so they go in, and there's a lovely, lovely night at the opera. Tosca playing music of such passion and evoking of emotions.
It's sad.
Mm-hmm. There's actually a brief moment where you actually see a tear actually come out of one of Charles's eyes.
Oh my god!
And he actually kind of like stops for a moment, and he sort of looks at it like he has no idea what just happened.
Yeah, Amber's like real surprised, man.
Yeah, even he. Yeah, clearly Charles is surprised too. Like, what is this?
I will say, even though Amber definitely has tears, she's got that Urban Decay setting spray that makes her makeup waterproof. So
yeah, no smearing.
Like her highlight is still on point. Like everything's fine except for maybe like the lower lash line. But
just as a note, the tear you probably mistaked. It's like, is there a sapphire trailing down? It's because there's such bright sapphire blue for the tear.
Like a gem just fell out of your eye.
Yeah.
You might want to get that looked at.
Sort of just it. But afterwards, the opera's over. It's a long carriage ride It'd be a long carriage ride, he says as they get out, and the carriage is waiting for them. But perhaps you would like me to take you home.
Oh, if you have the carriage for that long, we wouldn't want to let it go to waste. I could also get a cab.
Oh, please, by all means. I would much rather you get home. I would make sure I made sure you got home safely.
Vivi is going to be so annoyed that I'm going to pull up in a carriage.
With red carpets and everything, and a horse with a top hat.
Oh man, I can't wait to see your face.
So they get in, and it is it's still a long time. You're going from Manhattan to Brooklyn. It's still a long carriage ride.
Right. I mean, she's not too deep into Brooklyn, but yeah.
Yeah, but still, it's crossing the boundaries. So.
Right. And she'll, as I start along in the carriage, she'll kind of slap her forehead and go, "Oh, I forgot to bring one of my fans."
Your fans?
Not like a person. One of those opera fans, you know, that all the ladies used to fan themselves with, like the Victorian fan language. I was gonna buy one off of Pinterest or something.
Yes. Oh, the Victorian fan language. Yes. Oh, such another wonderful thing of human history that never crossed over for whatever unknowable reason. But just thinking about seeing the idea of just how the subtle movements of just the fan could just indicate interest or a come hither or a disinterest or the conversation closed, or how the way you put it up as he gets in close and he sort of like mimes making a fan motion. He goes, means that the conversation is private.
So what you're saying is if I were to do fan language at, say, I don't know, Sir Carol, he would have no idea what I was saying.
There's a complete possibility he would have no idea.
Excellent. I will not use that knowledge for evil.
I only trust that it'll be used for entertainment.
First, I have to purchase one of these fans. or like a monocle, right? That's what people use to watch operas sometimes. I saw that in a movie once. I don't know if it's accurate.
Well, if you're going to do the fan language and you are to send some particularly fiery fan language my way, I would make sure that I had a monocle just so it would pop out.
I will remember that next time I go to an opera.
Well, let's hope there will be another opera. I hope for many more.
To learn some Italian before then?
I actually do know Italian.
Oh, so you understood everything?
Oh, yes. Although that was Spanish.
Oh, well, shows how much I know.
But I understood that one, too. And it's about that time they're rolling on up to her house.
It's an apartment, but yes.
It's of the apartment, yeah. I'm sure VP was staring down at it, like...
Yeah, it's not like a super tall apartment complex. It's more townhouse-y, because this is like the nice part of Brooklyn. This is like the rich part of Brooklyn. But
Gotcha.
Yeah, so they have a porch. And yes, Vivi is there looking like just so tired. just so done with everything. She's in like her sweats and like her hair's done up in a messy bun, and she's just like, this is my life.
This is my life. This is me, and this is Amber's life. Fuck.
She's like, I'm a goddamn Rockette. I don't get a horse-drawn carriage.
Yes, but it spills out. The carpet rolls back out again, and Charles guides Amber down.
Before anything else, we need to ask the driver to take a picture of us, because this is probably never going to happen again in my lifetime.
You may be surprised, but of course, let's take that picture.
I want the driver does of a horse with a top hat.
Yep. It's going to go viral, let me tell you. There's better go in gossip.
Yep. Just what a good horse to keep that top hat on throughout the entire ride. Like, what a well-trained horse.
Let's not think about what might have to be done to pin it to the mane or anything like that.
Well, no, you can usually what you do. Well, okay, first of all, they don't actually have nerves in their mane, so you can pretty much do whatever there. But I mean, usually they just use like string and goes around the neck, which isn't super comfortable. Right. So usually they like shake it off. But
that's a very well trained horse to keep that top hat on. Oh man. I miss my horses. Anyway, that's another story.
You had horse? Okay, we're gonna talk about that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that afterwards. But yeah, so the picture is taken. The driver's there, and he goes, "I'll be waiting to take you home soon, sir." Of course, of course. So, a lovely evening.
No, it's definitely top 10, top 20.
Well, at least I'm in the top 100. So.
I feel as though I should invite you in, if you would like. I don't think my apartment is... Well, I don't think the opera is quite up to the scale that my apartment is. There might be somewhat of a culture shock, but...
I appreciate the invitation, but I'm afraid I must decline, my lovely Amber, because what we have here is a romance, and I'm afraid if we go into that room, into that house, it'll become something more than that, and...
Vivi would probably kill both of us. Let's be honest.
Probably so.
That's the real reason.
But let us not leave this evening empty-handed, if you don't mind, he says, and he smiles as he gives a sort of head tilt.
Oh, I suppose I can suffer through.
So he leans in for the kiss very gently, despite the sharp diamond teeth.
Yeah. That's why she's not coming at him open mouthed.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Oh. Oh god, it's like through a cheese grater.
I'm assuming it's a... I mean, I don't know, but he seems like a pretty chaste kisser.
Well, it's actually a relatively relatively chaste, but it's definitely a kiss on the lips.
Yeah.
And everything. So
like a PG-13.
Yeah, PG-13 because that's how romance works.
Yep.
I learned that. Nailed it. Good night, dear Amber.
Thank you for the lovely night.
And I hope perhaps there will be another. Sleep well. Dream big. He gets into the carriage, in which the thing rolls up, closes, and starts trotting away.
As you trot away, you hear, like, as you're going away, a loud just, "What the fuck?" from a couple floors up.
And I think that is the perfect place to end this, as Charles is just smiling because he feels like he is perfectly encapsulated a romantic evening.
Yes.
And got what he wanted out of it. All right. And with that, we will end this scene. Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching, as the one watcher just came in at the end here. So sorry about that. You'll have to catch this later. Good night, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, in the past, present, future. Goodbye.